Oh, oof, what a day. My goodness. Just trucking along, little choo-choo. Little engine that could. It's crazy when you work for a company for a year and nobody acknowledges it. All good though. All good. You know, it's the little things that companies can do, but we live in a world sometimes that companies just don't. They get lost in it, and that's okay. Teach to their own, You figure out your own performance, what you stand on, how you operate. You know your own work performance. You know how you operate. You don't need somebody to tell you that. You do not, especially when you know your performance. I don't question my performance, not by any means. I know my capabilities. I know what I bring to the table. And also, I know I'm not perfect. I know I make mistakes all the time, but I pound it out. And I just have a different way when it comes to the business world. How I operate, always have. So I've always had onlookers. People acted weird, straight weird in the professional atmosphere. Straight freaking weird. I'll never land on the why for that one. It's been shown to me. That's a why that I'll never land on, so I don't even try to figure it out. I'm just give people space, like whatever. But if I find myself in circumstances or situations or conversations, I move accordingly, and given the circumstances of everything and where we're at and where we landed at up until this point, it's just an exposure season, quite frankly, for a lot of people in a lot of different ways, whether that's personally, whether that's on the business front, whether that's how you conduct your business, whether it's what you truly stand on in the dark or out loud. It's just exposure season right now. And you see that so evidently on how people talk, how they perceive, the fake masks that they wear, the words that come out of their mouth, how they articulate things, how they talk about people. Whether it's their loved ones, their spouses, their family, whatever. If you find yourself in these conversations sometimes, when you hear how people discuss other people, you got to understand, if people are talking about these people, they're going to be talking about you. And it's just, it's crazy to see how many bad actors I do have in my life, considering. And it's just, I try to wrap my head around it. It's just understanding, like, why would people by choice choose to be a bad actor? Why wouldn't you want to just be yourself? Authentically, honestly, genuinely. I understand money makes the world turn, and money makes people do really weird things. I get that. Teach to their own on that, At the end of the day, you're going to be the one looking at the mirror, looking back at you. And if you choose by choice to go into this world and inflict the things that I see naturally, intentionally, that's just something you're going to have to grapple with within yourself. You just are. And it's one of those things. In the last 24, 48 hours, I've picked up on so many moments. I'm like, oh man, really? 90% of the time when I go against my intuition and I go against my discernment, when my gut is telling me something, but I always give people space, because I genuinely want to see the best in everyone. Even when I feel within my pit something's off, it often is hard. It's hard. It's that tug and pull with your consciousness, when you're somebody that just wants to see the best in people. People think that they have everything figured out. I think it's so comical when you find yourself in a world and you're out there saying, right, you did, or people land where they're at. Yeah, people do land where they're at by their choices. But also because we're in an exposure season, there's a lot of people in really peculiar situations right now because of their choices. I would freaking agree. I would agree. I would 100% agree. And I think it's comical that we find ourselves in a world where there's people out there that feel like they're in a position to talk about where people are at in their life and their choices while knowing that they're living a lie. They're partaking in a lie. They're partaking in bad acting. They're partaking in shady business deals. They're partaking in shady ways to make money. They're partaking in illusions and tactics and setups and tests and plots and plans and schemes and narrations and great debates and all these freaking things, man. Like, it's comical to me because it's like, at the end of the day, okay, continue pointing the finger, but what exactly are you doing? Exactly. Like, did you ever land on that answer? Like, figuring out the actions that you're taking in that momentum to conjure up whatever it is you got going on the sidelines to solidify your narration, your story, make sure everything's on the up and up, make sure your checks balances, like make sure all this stuff. But while you're doing all these things, you're doing really, really, really nasty things that are illegal. Very much so. In all facets of it. That's what Charlie woke up to as his life. All the illegal crap that was happening around him, involved his nonprofit. Like, golly. In his world consisting of bad actors on all sides of the fence. People losing sight of their consciousness. People losing sight of their humility. People losing sight on what they're actually on the right side of right. People losing sight of humanity, of decency, ethics, just general. It doesn't even have to be above and beyond. Like 50% of that. If you gave 50% of your ethics, it would be better than what we're getting right now. Seriously. If you put all of it into a bubble, all of it, the corruption, the lies, the deceit, the Epstein files, this war, Charlie Kirk, everything within each state, it all lands on the same thing. More lies hiding more lies. Holes getting dug deeper because of the choices they're having to make to keep the other holes covered. And it's a vicious circle. And it goes like this round and round and round and round. And more people get pulled in and pulled in and pulled in. And then they lose their soul and they lose their consciousness and they lose their own authenticity because they can't actually truly be themselves because they're out here living a lie. They're partaking in a lie and they're having to do what they have to do to stay above ground and live the lavish lifestyle that they're living and da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's just like, golly, man. And these are like the most prominent church-going people. This is what trips me out. In the hierarchy. You know? This is like a free-flowing video, but this is how my mind operates. Because the things that I see and I pick up on, it's like, golly, man. You got me effed up. I think it's comical that people don't like you because you don't care what they think of you. Make that make sense. Circle back. When you don't like someone and they then recognize you don't like them, it's been shown to them clearly, you do not like them. And they're like, hey, I've accepted the fact that you actually don't like me. And I'm okay with that. I actually respect where you're coming from. I understand that there's people in this world that you're not going to like. You don't have to. Right? You accept it. You're like, cool, we're on the same page. You know? But then they also don't like that neither. Because you go on about living your life, finding your little way. And they actually don't like that neither. So not only do they not like you, they're upset that you don't care that they don't like you. And you need to make that make sense for me. And run it back. So I have an understanding, because right now I'm drawing blanks. Especially when people don't like you in the dark, but are fake to you to your face.